Normally I have a Zoom room and humans, and it's very different when I'm just talking to a screen, and it's very interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay. But I've decided that this is going to be amazing. And that is what I've decided. All right. So let me just give me a hot moment here. Just give me a second here. I've got a gorgeous soul wanting in to the Zoom room. And I'm just going to say, hey, girl, it's a live masterclass on Facebook Live. But you can. So you can join us. Try something different today. All right, I just want to make sure that I have made that clear. Again, like I normally have people in the Zoom room, and this is different today. That being said, I am going to invite some folks into the Zoom room after, so this is not the only thing. Okay. Let me make sure that I'm sharing this in the places and spaces I want to be sharing it. So give me a moment, and then I'm going to dive in. Appreciate your patience if you are watching this. Let me just quickly share this into my group, and then we're ready to go. Hello, Miss G. Okay. And we are live with the master class today. Mindset. Okay. So let me just make sure. Okay, let me get started. Now, that being said, I am going to keep my eyes on the comment section as best I can. And if you're watching the replay, hi, we're officially getting started at the 5-minute mark. Better now than later. You will be proud to know that I'm not drinking coffee right away. First, some water. And you may want to, there we go. I just want to make sure that Miss K has my information, so she doesn't think I don't want her here, because I do. But I'm just trying it a little bit differently. Okay, let's get started. So you're going to want to have probably have a notebook on hand, but you can also receive the transmission however you decide. I always say, try something different. This is part of mindset, right? Where it's like, if normally you take notes because you're afraid you're going to miss something, my invitation is to try it different and trust the transmission. If normally you're like, oh, well, a little floaty about it, then maybe like commit to writing some things down that really stand out for you. So I just want to bring in a couple of questions right from the get-go, right away, because that yes, I do mindset with my clients. It's a very important part of the process, but it's done specifically, it's done at a specific time for a very specific reason. So first, we're always unfolding and unplugging ourselves through identity work and healing. So we're doing the repair work on a system that always needs upgrades, right? We can always be better at getting better, right? And that's not about falling into some conditioning about what it means to be a good person or successful. It just means that humans are wired for two things. One is, I want to grow. I want to expand my mind. I want to get bigger in my life in a good way. And then the other is, I want to stay the same and stay safe, right? So there's that, right? And that all of that gets to be repaired. There gets to be repair work that's done, AKA healing, so that our mind and the way that we want to set it can actually hold the system of beliefs that that particular mindset needs. Okay, so my sort of like bringing forward to you in this teaching and in this masterclass is it safe to be you? Okay, so is it safe to be you? So again, just noticing what comes forward, what gets pinged, what comes up, because I wanna bring mindset into the right context so that you can understand how it might be a little different than what you may think of it or how you may have learned it. So is it safe to be you? And then the other one is, what problems are you trying to solve within yourself right now? And that doesn't mean that you are a problem or like everything is wrong with you. It just means some of us have this mindset, the lens, the way we look at the external world and the way that we feel about our internal world, in that we may be using the work to try and solve a problem we think we are. Okay, so that's another sort of like, who could you be if there was nothing to solve in you? Like, what could be possible if you had no problem that you had to like constantly be working on or solving? So is it safe to be you? And what problems are you trying to solve in yourself? So mindset work is often the thing that we can turn to or look to kind of attend to these things, right? In other words, mindset is there to help us through the things that healing is actually there to do. So sometimes we try to use mindset tools when really there's actually like a deeper process of healing that we get to do first. And then mindset's going to be able to kind of sustain us. So mindset, like mindset in general, I invite you to feel into it and look at it this way, which is mindset is just a decision that you make in a conscious way, right? In a conscious, good way for yourself. Mindset is a decision that you make, a way that you're going to see yourself, a way that you're going to see what's possible, a way that you're going to see life. It's a decision that you make, and you set your mind in that place. And all other work and all other aligned action comes from that decision, so that you know when you're out of alignment or that when you've wavered, and you can use mindset tools, which I'll teach you some at the end, to bring yourself back to that original decision, right? So it's very important that the decision that we make is truly our decision, that it's not plugged into some conditioning, ideas of success, things we think we need to have or do or be to be valued in this world, right? Maybe your mindset decision right now is, I'm a good person, I'm valuable, I'm lovable, I'm worthy. Or maybe that's your mindset decision, right? Or maybe your mindset decision is more based on an ease that you want to have around something that's previously felt really difficult. Like I decide it gets to be easy for me, because maybe your experience in life has been so challenging and everything feels really hard because maybe it really was, right? So mindset work is part of a bigger holistic whole I want you to just be thinking about, okay? Because if we look at, like, say, a medicine wheel, right? If we think of a medicine wheel or a pie, however you want to look at it, and we have our quadrants, right? We have the different aspects of what it means to be human in this three-dimensional world that we've somehow, crazy as it may be, have decided to come down and have our human experience in, right? And so we have a mind here. We've been gifted a mind. Whatever your faith is, God, source, universe, whatever it is, like the rocks, the stars, there's a belief that you have that keeps you going, right? There's a human hope and faith that you have. So whatever you feel about that, you know, in this lifetime, in this world, you've been gifted a mind. Very powerful, also dangerous, right? It's on a spectrum, but you've been gifted a mind. But you've also been gifted the emotionality of you, the human nuance of feeling and emotions and expression and joy and sadness, despair, hope, faith. You've been gifted that experience, right? It's a gift. We have these emotions, we have these sensations, and also the other gift we have, which is our body, right? We've been gifted a body. However you feel about that in your body, like I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, I really need to maybe do some muscle work on this, right? So like we have judgments about all of these aspects. We have judgments about our mind, we have judgments about our emotions and all the things, right? So we have been, but nonetheless, we've been gifted a body, right? We've been gifted a body. And all of this is the greatest gift of all, is that we have this, we have a spirit. We have an aspect of our beingness that is undefinable, that is the mystery, that is the unscientific structural way to organize. We have a spirit, we have a soul, right? This is the place of mystery and magic and miracles and things that science can't explain, right? So science is beautiful and I love it. And it's also catching up to what spirit has known time immemorial. Okay. So mindset is a part of that. It is a part of all that you are. So mindset, just like anything, there is not one thing that's going to solve a perceived problem or be that missing link or put everything together. You are all of that, right? And I know when I first learned this, I'm like, no, I'm not the solution. I'm not the answer. It's over here. And I get it, right? There are things that are outside of me that I, need to learn. But by and large, the desires that you have, the visions that you have for yourself, the goals that you have, the things you want to achieve and receive, right? To receive and achieve, you are the one doing it. You are the piece that holds all of it. Mindset is a quadrant of that, but it is a very important quadrant. And I want to speak about it that way. I want you to feel about it that way. I want you to understand that mindset it's not a hack that's going to solve the things. Even though I know most of us know this, I still believe that there's a part of us that's like, if I could just change my mind about this, right? And that can also be true. So I would be curious, excuse me, to know when you're feeling drawn to mindset, or there's a part of you that's like, oh, we've got to get better at this, or this, I need some better mindset, or I need to learn mindset here. For what purpose? For what purpose are you drawn toward mindset? Because that's going to be a big part of your come from place, right? So if you're using mindset to solve an emotional dilemma, let's say, the feelings you have about something, mindset will support that, right? It has a place, but first the repair work of some of those really sticky parts that you could journal all day and all night about, but they're going to kind of override things. So here are things that are going to override a mindset practice that you want to attend to first. So again, it's not to poo-poo mindset or say it's not going to do anything for you. It will, but in the right way and in the right context, right? In the right way, in the right context. So for what purpose? So if you're trying to solve a problem of emotions, many of the things we feel come from that which we've experienced on a physical, spiritual level. Remember those other quadrants I talked about? You've got a body, you've got a mind, you've got a spirit, but in that you have a memory, you have a place you've come from. You didn't just immediately, come out of a vacuous space and here you are. You've come from somewhere in this lived lifetime, previous lifetimes, and you are bringing things with you. And part of what you're bringing with you is memory. You remember. It's a beautiful thing. Memory is a beautiful thing, but also memory is one of those brain things, right? Where it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it my mind creates the feelings or my feelings shift and change the mind? Does it really matter? If we find the answer to that, we could just be spinning our wheels all night on that, right? But the truth is that we do have emotions and they come from a memory. And so a mindset practice has to attend to that. And one way it can attend to that is this idea of the also and, which is understanding that we are a multitude of feelings and beliefs, experiences, memories. We are all of that. And so if the mindset practice is there to do erasure processes or bypassy processes, right? If we're just trying to erase fear, override the fear, override that, we're basically trying to play some magicianal thing on a nervous system that's there to keep you safe, that the body will win every time. Physical memory will win every time. And that is why we do the repair work first, not because we can't change our mind or not because mindset is ineffective, but because it needs to be in relationship with a process of somatic work, healing, and understanding that using mindset means we really need to use the also and approach, which can be simple as, I'm feeling really nervous. I can't see comments. I'm like, I don't know if this is making sense. I say this every time, by the way, like also, and I know what I'm doing. This isn't my first rodeo. There's no way that I can mess it up. So there's no way I can mess it up is like a decision that I made before I came on. So it's like my backup go-to head to home base. My home base is, there's no way I can mess this up. Right? So the also and is you being able to hold multiple aspects of yourself, of how you're feeling and also what's true. So in some mindset work, this is called rescripting, right? Where we have a feeling or a discomfort in our system, right? And we're afraid of something, right? And we take a script and we change that belief and we place a new belief on it. So that also has a time and place. When you're really at a place where you're ready to just unhook yourself from that old conditioning or that way on your timeline that you've come from, there are ways to do that. That is part of the work I do, right? So there is a time where you don't have to hold it anymore. But in the meantime, while we're humaning our way on our journey, we may have a fear, right? And so mindset is not there to erase that. Right? It's not there to erase that. And it's not even, you don't even have to just fully rescript it as though this fear doesn't exist. You know, I'm afraid to be seen. Rescript. I'm so excited to put myself out there. I'm so excited to receive accolades. I'm so excited to be seen. But if this fear is still there, then that rescripting it's ignoring a truth that you're also holding. You are afraid. Just own it. Just say it. Right? So one of the things, and I'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow and also at the end today, one of the pieces of holding the also and is a very simple practice of it's a script and it just goes like this. I've done this saved my butt so many times. Even though and I may have worked on this with you. So here's me saying it again. It's not important. Even though I, making space, making room, giving grace, humaning, seeing the nuance, even though I am afraid that I put all this work into something and it's not going to work out, or like, even though I am, insert whatever emotion feels uncomfortable, right? That a part of you may wish isn't there. So even though I am, name it, get specific, name it, even though I am afraid of being seen, for example. I still deeply love and respect myself. So you're making space for it, You can also say, even though I'm afraid, I am also excited, because fear and excitement really can be the same thing, just two sides of the same coin. Okay, right. Let me just make sure. Okay, I'm curious if you have questions. Let me just hot second here. Questions. Anything coming through? Comments. Okay, I'm doing my best. Just make sure. Okay, perfect. Everything making sense? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. And thank you for the comments about looking marvelous. I feel marvelous. Yesterday and the day before was not feeling marvelous. Okay. All right. Let's move on to them. So also and, okay. So let me just quickly recap here, because the mind is like beautiful, but it can get overwhelmed really quickly. We want to use mindset practice for the fulfillment of being a good human in this world. We want to use mindset practice to be a better human in a world that needs better humans. Okay, so please remember that the way that mindset practice has been sold or given out or just like thrown around, especially on the internet or in books, has a very kind of old colonial patriarchy, like naming all the things, it's got a really old world approach and very kind of bro markety, that you're going to use it for your own gain. Like, I'm going to use mindset practice so I can make more money. Nothing wrong with making more money. That is one of my goals this year, right? My business has been on a slight proverbial pause because I wanted to be a good mom for my kids during all the lockdowns. So of course it makes sense. I'm like, all right, let's ramp it up, right? So nothing wrong with wanting to make money, but it's the individualistic approach to the gain that mindset can give you. So my invitation, my ask of you is that we remember that mindset is there for a bigger purpose, for us to be better at what we do, how we do it, so we can help people, is to be better. Okay. Is for fulfillment versus I'm going to use it for my own personal gain. Because here's the thing, I believe is that we all have an aspect of ourselves. We all have a very good, hopeful part of us that wants the world to be better. And we want to help the world be better. And there's something that really doesn't resonate with this individualistic approach. And it makes it really hard trying to be that in a world that seems to not exist that way, right? But all things are possible when enough people believe they're possible and act as such. Okay. All right, so that is my piece about that. Okay. The second portion I really want to share, this is like, if there's one thing I want you to remember from this masterclass is this next section. Okay. So again, in my programs, all of them, whether you work in HEAL, which is coming up, it's the 8-week program that's coming up. Please do not hover and sit on the fence on this in a painful way. Reach out and I'll help you make a decision, one way or the other, right? That's my job, is to help you come to a decision that feels good for you while holding the highest outcome for you. Okay. Here's a thing that I want to share around, again, around how you get to see mindset so that you can find a process that works for you. Because sometimes I think with mindset, it's like we're just throwing spaghetti against the wall and we're not seeing results right away. And so we're like shifting gears and pivoting, like it lacks a follow through. It lacks a follow through, right? It's like, oh, I tried, like one of the things I used to hear a lot when I first started was like, oh yeah, I tried that and it didn't work. And my question is, why do you think that is? What part of it didn't work? Like, what was it about that didn't work? Excuse me. We all have this like spring cold that's like moved from winter cold. I'm like, when is this going to be done? Okay. So let me just say it now. Your mindset practice, the level of success, meaning how well it helps shape a mind that feels good for you to have. Because to me, that's the whole purpose of mindset. Not just to set my mind in a belief that's going to help me attain something, right? Not just to make the world a better place so we can all attain the good thing, but so that I have a way to handle myself. Because the mind is our greatest gift in many ways and our worst enemy. Yeah, greatest gift, worst enemy. Okay, Lynn asks, so how would you change the fear to excitement? Ooh, okay, that is a really good question. Let me finish this and it may answer that. And thank you for that question, by the way, Lynn. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of y'all right now. Just like we come with a memory, right? Just like we come with memories in our body and our blood and the marrow of our bones, we come with things into this world. Some of them are so deeply subconscious, we don't even know that we are carrying them, right? And we have these like, oh, aha moments. I'll give you a quick example. I had a moment with a friend about a year ago now, and she mirrored back to me a piece in me that I was carrying that was making it really hard for me to break away from things that I really needed to break away. Just like you need to lift the anchor of the ship so it can move. there was like this piece anchoring me, and there's nothing wrong with anchors. We need anchors from time to time, right? But ships are built to move, just like you're built to have a way you want to be in the world and things you want to have. And so there will be beliefs, there will be aspects of you that will hold you back. Okay. Again, not to make them wrong, but we will have that. Okay. And one of mine that was mirrored back to me was this sense of undeniable or unmovable, unshakable, unhookable, just like when we over identify with this, of loyalty. This idea of loyalty that I can't, and you would see that show up setting boundaries, right? Oh, well, it's family. So like there's this like conditioned illusion of loyalty. Like, what are you loyal to? Who are you loyal to? What beliefs are you loyal to? So that's just an example of what I'm going to talk about. So the efficacy, listen to me, so smart, the efficacy, the way it's going to work with your mindset practice, this level of success is going to be in direct relation to the beliefs that you have about yourself, about the way the world works, about the rules that you follow consciously or unconsciously. Your beliefs, it's like a container. Everything that's in that container is going to affect your mindset practice. In other words, if you want to change your mind about something, then you better get a handle on what is in that container of beliefs. And unpacking what we actually think is true is an ongoing process. And I will tell you, it is the most effective way to get to understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you're feeling what you're feeling, why you're making the choices that you're making, why you can't seem to move on from this thing, because your belief system is directly related to who you believe you actually are. Your beliefs are who you believe you are, how you believe the world is. And there are so many aspects to that, that if I got too sidelined, it would be like this whole other masterclass around beliefs, because that's a huge part of like the healing process that we do. Okay. So get to really understand what you believe is true around what it is you're working on, what's coming up for you, beliefs that you have around fear. What do you believe is true about fear? What do you believe is true around fear? Now, if we were working like on Zoom, you know, I would ask one of you, well, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What's something that you're afraid of? Just say it. What's something you're afraid of? I'll tell you, man, if you tell me yours. Okay. Well, I'm afraid of making mistakes. And here's the also and. Even though I'm afraid of making mistakes, I recognize that our mistakes are a way I learn. Mistakes are healing I get to do, beliefs I have, and they don't the fear of mistakes isn't necessarily strong enough to stop me from going forward, knowing I'm going to make them. So I expect to mess up. What's really true about this fear, deeper, and if I was like in a big healing process and being facilitated in the same flavor of work I do, would be this expression of, I'm afraid that I am a mistake. Do you feel the difference? I'm afraid I'm a mistake. Okay, so that's why we do the repair work, so that that's not in my system anymore. Of course, I'm not a mistake. I'm a human. I celebrate my mess. I celebrate how fucking freeing it is to just say, like, here I am, and this is how I operate, and these are the places I'm still working on, and here's the places I feel like a fucking rock star. Like, I can't mess it up anymore, and I never did before. Okay, so that's why we want to get a handle on like the deeper flavor of feelings that are coming up, so that the mindset practice has a place to hold itself. Because if I deeply believe actually I'm a mistake, no mindset work is going to help pull me out of that on its own. Okay, all right, bingo bango. Okay, And also brought forward, this is again the also and, I have a fear of rejection. I have a fear of rejection. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, it comes up all the time. Like, and I remember when my girlfriends and I were walking and I'd had to stop and tie my shoe and they would just keep walking and I'd be like, rejected. I'm not, and I had a phrase for it. I'm not stop worthy. And like, oh, that like so hurts. I'm not good enough for somebody to stop. Like, there's something about me that's not valuable enough, right? And it's like, if we do this over time and enough decades, it's hooked in really deep. And so it makes sense that we're going to have a fear of rejection when we go to do something where there's a potential for rejection, right? And in parts work, we would say that there's protectors coming forward and they don't want us to feel rejection. So they're going to find ways to get in. They'll disrupt any mindset practice. You know who the biggest disruptors of your mindset practice are your firefighters, what Richard Schwartz calls firefighters in IFS. They're the ones that are going to really take you out. They are going to knock you down. They are going to bring you to your addictions. You're going to be over scrolling, mindlessness, napping, drinking, smoking, whatever it is to get you out of the potential feeling of the disaster that rejection is. Okay, so we can hold that and have that. Okay. And just like, I don't want to name names on here because I'm going to be putting this on YouTube. So I'm just going to keep it like name free, even though I know it's on Facebook and all the things, but I just want to double down on consent. So, so just like Miss L brought forward, like I fear rejection, but I also fear success. And my curiosity is, how are they actually any different? What lies in between both of them? What's the commonality here? Are they really different? So start to get curious. And this is a mindset practice of like, I'm willing to see it differently. Miss L says, I can so relate to not stop worthy, right? And this plays itself out all the time. Like there's a reason why I stopped posting in my group for a year, because my nervous system and my inner resources were capped. And I was like, this is not a place that I'm going to lean into right now. And I'm going to choose to not make that anything wrong with me. I'm actually going to notice and appreciate how good I am at knowing my own limits and not making it wrong. Because like, I don't need that extra wrong making. Everybody's got this like point of self beat up that we do where we make ourselves wrong or like, I'm the problem. Okay, so the good news is, yes, we come with memory. Yes, we come with this like blueprint, if you will, of emotions and the way our whole inner system is set up and the uniqueness we are. Yeah, we come with that. But just like anything, it is not this like static, immobile piece. It is just not. We are not the same. We are not this thing that's immobile, that's fixed. There's a lot of chatter in mindset around a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Interesting things to read. Again, you're not one or the other. Maybe you're fixed in certain areas. Maybe your mindset is fixed in certain areas and you're not as willing to change your mind about certain things. But there's nothing wrong with that. And there's reasons why your mind is going to be fixed in certain areas. Like that's a fight or flight thing. That's like a nervous system response thing. That's like a trauma thing. That's a lot of things in there. There's a lot of reasons why your mindset is going to be fixed in certain areas. Is it always fixed? Is it something that can never get healed, that will never change? No, that's not true at all. Like anything can be unhooked from itself, right? So you're not this fixed mindset and growth mindset. It's got a place in a conversation. But again, it's like, is that in your world? Is that true for you? So part of unhooking from the matrix or whatever you want to call it, right? Unhooking from the way you think the world is and changing your mind is like, yeah, maybe that whole way of looking at it isn't for me. I don't see it as fixed or growth or other, like we can debunk anything, right? But the good news is that because nothing is fixed in this world, because everything is changing, nothing remains the same, right? Like eventually the sun will cease to be the sun, right? Like everything in motion, everything is changing. The same is true about the way that your brain has been wired. Okay? The same is true about the way your brain has been wired around anything you've experienced. Some of it is more of a challenge to change your mind about. Let's get honest. Like, just like some of it is a challenge, right? I think it would be a disservice to be like, you can change your mind about anything and it's no problem and it's all easy. And like, you get to decide it's easy to change your mind. Yeah, you sure as hell can. Totally. Maybe it doesn't, maybe healing doesn't have to equate suffering, right? Like maybe it gets to, maybe healing is learning. Like maybe healing is more than just like, oh, it's going to be so hard. I'm going to be cracked wide open. Like, I don't think it is. Right? So the good news is that you can change your mind about things, but there are going to be aspects and there are going to be elements in healing we'd call, there are going to be parts of you that are going to feel more of a challenge to change. Give yourself grace. It takes the time it takes. I think one of the things that the concept of mindset will flip us into is this idea that if I just change my mind, everything's going to change. Change your mind, change the world. Yeah, for sure. Give it time. Give it time. Like it has taken us millennia to get to the point where change has to happen. And it's going to take us a few more generations to enact the change we all know we have to have. Like it takes time. It takes time. And also it can happen really fast. If I had a magic wand, which I haven't, look at this magic wand I have, it's beautiful. It is a magic wand, but like if I had a magic wand and I gifted you mindset to change your mind about something, what would that be? And I'm ninja at telling you, part of that's a healing thing. Here's what it is. Chances are this is what it is, even without knowing all your particulars. Because we think we're so different from everybody, and we are, sure. But also all humans have the same fears and feelings, not all the same experiences, not all the same privileges, not all the same incomes, not all the same skin color, all of that. But in the end, we've all been fragmented from oneness, right? We've all othered ourselves. We've all inherited this conditioning that we're othering, that we're different, that we're other than. And so then what do? We compare ourselves. We try to find things to make us like everybody else. We try to follow trends so that we feel like we belong. We go along with things we wouldn't otherwise go along with to belong, right? So this is what humans do. This is what humans do. And we catch ourselves in that. And we're like, I want to get better. I want to heal. I want to do. And so like, I want mindset to help me change my mind. So like, there it is, poof, permission granted, magic wand revealed. And like, I have changed your mind. Not I have, the magic has changed your mind about something. And what would you like to change your mind about? So Miss L brought forward the idea of rejection, right? And so if we were in like one of the sessions together, my curiosity or my question or my invitation would be, what are you afraid is getting rejected? Because part of mindset, part of making mindset work is actually really getting to the root story, or like the kind of the end of the funnel as to what belief is actually really running the show. What can you change your mind about? So that's why in all kind of healing work and mindset work is like specificity is your best friend. Specificity is your best friend. Naming it, saying it is your best friend. And we avoid specificity with certain things. We like to think very general because we don't have to take the responsibility of naming the thing that we're feeling or that we're afraid of. So mindset work is going to best work for you if you're able to get into the process of being specific around what about rejection? What about it? What about the fear of rejection would you like to change your mind about? What about you are you afraid is rejected? And that's the invitation. Specificity is your best friend when it comes to mindset. It is the piece. Okay, speaking of being specific, I love that I wrote notes. And sometimes I don't understand what the hell I was thinking when I wrote them. And I'm like, girl, what did she talk about? But I do have something I want to share. Okay, so mindset is also like a process of just loving yourself. Truth is loving all of you and being able to see all of you. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any. Thanks, Anastasia. Okay. Questions, comments before I wrap up here? I'm going to leave a little mindset practice for you. I'm going to do, like tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the energetics of mindset and actually giving you some things that you can actually do. And I can give them to you and give you the little toe dip, and you can use these, or you can actually get the whole piece and join heal. Like that's your other option. Okay. So this is like a little taste test of all the things that you can get. So I'm limited to actually like see you through a process, like just by sharing this. And what I'm sharing is also really important, foundational, very valuable as well. So like not to diminish what I'm sharing as like not like to say it's not enough, because it's if you do this every day and you like listen and you pay attention and you do the work, yeah. But humans are also wired to be pretty insufficient on our own. It turns out we need people. People need people. So part of heal is to actually give you that collaborative support that we need. I'm really good at holding the focus for many things, and I'm terrible in other areas where I really need to improve. So that's where I'm like, here's where I get support. Okay, here we go. Here's a practice that you can use, a process you can use. So one of the reasons why we use mindset is because the mind feels like it moves really fast, and we are having a hard time with some of the thoughts we're having, right? Yes, no, maybe so. Agree? Okay. Most of the time, that's what people want mindset for, is like to get a handle on the mind, right? And again, everything I said about seeing mindset in relationship to the deeper repair work that you get to do, right? Because we all have repair work to do. COVID definitely brought that one forward. Okay. So first of all, number one, what are you working toward right now? Okay, so this isn't like, what are your, 3-month goals or 5-year plan? But understanding the internal motivation, the internal for what purpose, the core desire around mindset, why you're using it. So get clear on that. Like, what are you working toward? What do you want? This is one of the first steps in all of my programs, because it clarifies what you want, and then helps clarify who you believe you are in relationship to that desire. Could you have it? Are you that person yet? Are you deserving of it? Do you have what it takes? Right? So unpacking what you want is part of a really important process, so that you're awake at the wheel, so you know why you do things and why you feel things. So what is it that you're working on? So just don't overcomplicate that. Just clarify it and think of it as a short-term goal if you need a timeline. So it could be something, if I want to get 2 new clients in the next 3 months, or something trackable, right? So what do you want? So it could be something you want to have, something you want to do, a version of you want to be. Don't overthink it. Just get a handle on, what are we looking at when we look forward? What do I see? What do I want to see when I look forward? Okay. So kind of clarify that. And then just simply do a brain dump about it. It's so simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just write down all the thoughts or the feelings or the voices in your head. Write them all down. Fill the whole page with them in relationship to that desire that you named. Name the desire. Get specific if you want, and brain dump it out. Brain dump the whole thing. Get it all down. You'll start to notice a pattern. You'll start to notice there's like 2 or 3 kind of themes that will come up. Chances are it's going to reveal what you're afraid of. It's going to reveal how you think of yourself, thoughts you have about yourself in relationship to the version of you that actually has this, right? So let's just like make it about money for a second. Let's say you want $20,000 in the next 3 months. Again, I'm just like tossing things out here. Your fears around that may be things like, it's going to be too much work. I think I'm lazy. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'm going to fuck it up, right? And so it's going to reveal things that you're afraid of and parts of you that you judge, right? Things you don't think are like, things you think are a problem about you. It's going to reveal a lot of things. So just get that brain dump out. And here's where that's going to reveal, like when you go to do the healing work and the repair work, you're going to have a sense of what you're actually working on, right? You're going to get that specificity. Specificity is your best friend because it's like bringing it down and naming it. It's giving it language. It's like valuing this place in you. Okay, so what do I want? Brain dump it out. Find 2 or 3 pieces of that brain dump and re-script them in the also and flavor, okay? So you got your brain dump, you'll see some things, you'll be like, this is where we bring energetics into it. Read it out loud. Listen to yourself say it out loud. And you'll notice the ones that ping you. Ooh, I felt that. Ooh, that one is like, I feel my gut spin when I say that, or like, ooh, I feel nervous saying that. So pick 2 or 3 of those sentences that actually resonate for you, because some of the brain dump is like, oh yeah, that's not really a thing when I write it down. Like, oh, I'm not really afraid of being seen. I love being seen, right? Like, whatever. Okay. So dump it out, pick 2 or 3 that are energetically matching your system and pinging you, and then practice the also and piece, which is, even though I am afraid it's going to be so hard and I'm going to burn out, right? For whatever desire you have, for anything, like, even though I'm afraid it's going to be too much work and I'm not going to follow through. Let's stick with that. Even though I'm afraid it's going to be too much work and I won't follow through. Okay. I also, and this is where you have to trust yourself. So that's true. But let's bring in another belief about that is also true, that you're either moving toward believing is true, willing to believe is true, wanting to believe is true. So this is a bridging beliefs process I do. And name it. Okay, so like, even though I'm afraid it's going to be hard and burnout, I also know I have better boundaries with myself now. I also know I can't make mistakes anymore in my life. I also know I have a wicked ass forgiveness process that is going to keep me moving forward, right? We're looking for the also and. You can hold more than one thing and both are okay. And eventually the one that is most true, most you, most authentic, most unplugged version stays. And these fears and thoughts start to relax. But you have to say that they're there so you know that they're not for you. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Okay, so we will be talking about mindset. I will be incorporating this mindset work. We will be doing somatic release mindset work in Heal. That's a huge part of it. And I just want to make it clear how it fits into the whole piece. Okay. Okay. It's, yes, I came upon this slide by accident, not accident, never an accident today. And I know to dig deeper than I already have. Yes, it is time. Yeah. So Lynn, oh, I used your name. Hopefully that's okay. Join us for Heal. Like just join us so that we can really complete this process, right? Or join something, right? Like, it doesn't have to be me, right? But mine's here and it's available. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. So there's your practice. At the beginning, we kind of went over some of the ways that we can see it and some of the parts around mindset that we really need to get a handle on, like the container of beliefs that are going to support the mindset practice, right? Okay, tomorrow I will be giving you all the tools. It's exciting. Okay, Heal starts very soon. It starts on the 25th of April. So like, don't be hovering on this, on the fence too much. If you're curious about it and you're like feeling called to it, but there's a hesitation, message me and I'll answer your questions, because chances are there's like, it's a fear piece of like, what if it doesn't work? And like the work always works. There is like nobody I have ever worked with who's like, well, that was a bag of shit and it never worked. Like, that is just not even a thing. The work works. All development will work, right? It's just finding that right flavor. So if you're feeling the flavor and the approach that I use, my invitation is to join and not make it complicated. If you have questions, I have answers. I have answers. Okay. Big love. Have a fabulous day. And I will see you tomorrow for all the tools that you're going to need. Okay.